Good morning, YouTubes, afternoon, evening, whatever time of the day you're watching this. I actually came out to my workshop to grab my waterproofs to repair the leaks, because when I rode the trusty rusty 250RS in the rain the other day, they still leaked, but not in the same places they were leaking before. So, bit of a success with the tent seam sealer tape. So I have got a few more patches to make, but while I was out I thought, do you know what, I haven't actually done a little walk around video which might help people that are looking at buying a 250RS, because I know I did look all over YouTube for videos, to be fair, after I bought this bike. This was a late night after a beer impulse purchase on Facebook Marketplace. We've all done it. So I thought I'd do a quick video of a walk round of the RS. If I get any of the stats wrong, you can look them up. It's not rocket science. So let's start at the front. Well, let's start by the bike actually. Honda CB250RS. They did a couple of versions. This is an RSA, which is a kickstart version, and then they did another RS. Was it a DX? Anyway, that had an electric start, and the electric starter was sat somewhere around there, and the case has an additional part, obviously, for the gears to drive the starter motor to the crankshaft. But this is kickstart, early model, 1980. This one, W Reg in the UK, so that's 1980. 250 or 249cc. Single cylinder engine. I've got a bit of a weak from the head gasket, but it's fine. It's just weak a little bit. Single plug, 4-valve cylinder head. Obviously twin pipes for the exhaust. A single carburettor. People remember those. Anyone that's going to ride one of these knows what a carburettor is. And obviously there's your fuel tap. I did chuck an inline filter in. It has got a new filter in the tap, but I put an inline one in anyway, just so that you can see the fuel flow, to be honest with you. I'll switch that on. Look at that. You can see that filling. The carburettor, I think it might be a key-in, and I'm going to guess at 30mm. And you can see in there, it's got an accelerator pump on the carb, which means as you twist the throttle, a small pump squirts fuel straight into the inlet, which just, if you're at high revs and you hit the throttle, it just gives it a bit of a, you know, kick up the arse, a bit of injection. It's fitted with a decompressor lever, which is there, which is linked to the kickstart mechanism. Runs down to there, works off of a, well actually it's there, that's the clutch, it's there. Works off of the off of a cam, I think, which obviously as you turn the motor over, it just decompresses the cylinder head to help you start it. It's only a little 250. I don't know why they put it on, but that's Honda for you. A little bit overcomplicated. There's your tacho drive. Runs up to the rev counter. Up there. Fuel tank is, I think, 13 litres. Someone can look that up. Ignore these wires, these are my power cables for my sat nav while I'm riding. Yeah, this is an aftermarket exhaust pipe on this. This is a Micron, good old Micron from the 80s, with a single silencer. Standard pipes were single stubby pipe either side. They finished about there and they do look really good. I'd love to get a set for this, but they're really rare because they rotted away. But yeah, I would love to get some. 12-volt electrics. There's your fuel tank, and again Honda overcomplicated fashion. The locking device. There's the tank. A little bit rusty inside, but it's not too bad. Yeah, quite why they. But then they did it on the bigger bike, so I guess they wanted to make it seem like a bigger bike. You got your clocks and your choke cable, or your choke. It's not even a lever, is it? Plunger. which obviously operates the car for starting. Switch it on, standard neutral light, indicators either side, and then you've just got speedo and tachometer. So I've done 900 miles on this. High beam, switch gear, you've got your horn, you've got your indicators either side. That's a pass light, which is your flasher. On most modern bikes they tend to be at the top of the lever there, but here they're there. And then obviously you've got your headlamp high and low on this side. Switch that off. Then this side, obviously you've got your throttle, you've got your engine kill switch, and you've got your headlights off, park, and main beam. I normally leave it off, I don't know why, because it's a kickstart, so even with a flat battery you should better start it. This has got an aftermarket master cylinder because when it was dragged out by Mikey, the original one was dead. That's quite common, but it's still got the rubber hoses, the original ones. The lever's firm, and it does stop you, but don't expect modern standards of braking. Headlight, 35 watt bulb. I think it's like a 30-35 dual element. It's the speed the bikes do and the use they get, it's probably adequate, would be the best way to describe it. Forks, non-adjustable, and I'm going to guess 35mm. That is a guess. Again, you can look that up on the internet. It's not like this is a performance bike that we're worried about that, but yeah, I think they're about 35mm, and they work well enough for the bike. Single piston front brake caliper on the disc brake, and I think that is a 250mm disc. Obviously it's not vented, but yeah, adequate. Front wheel is a laced wheel, quite obviously, on an alley rim, and it's a DID rim. Look at that. This does need a good clean. They do polish up nice. One thing to look out for if you're looking to buy one of these is around the spoke holes you can get water ingress, and the water starts to blow the alley out and that will kill a rim. Once you get that, obviously you then end up with risk of spokes pulling out of rims, but as you can see this one is absolutely perfect. Yeah, it's lovely. Front tyre is tubed tyre. It's a 185 18-inch rim. It's a tube tyre. I think it's a 3 by 18, which is obviously old-fashioned imperial measurement, and these are awful Chinese tyres, nylon CST. Oh yeah, they're dreadful. Looking back to the motor, there's your dipstick, and that is measured with the bike upright, and you take it out, give it a wipe, and then you sit it on the threads like that, and then obviously you check it, and you take a look on the checkered, the hatch part, and that's absolutely spot on. I do run it at the max just to give it a bit of extra oil, and it does blow a tiny bit out the breather, so again I'll probably run that a little bit lower. Weak points on these motors are the fact that they don't have a conventional oil filter. Honda, in their wisdom, and I don't know why, because Honda stuff, especially in the 80s, was really well engineered, but they didn't have a filter. They've got a gauze filter rather than a paper element, and that lives round about in there, inside this case. This is the clutch cover on the right hand side of the motor. It lives in there, and it's a strainer, a bit like a kitchen strainer, really, a tea strainer. It's a bit crap. So most people change the oil about every 1,000 miles on these, because the camshaft, which runs in there, runs across the motor, and you have cam lobes which operate the rockers to operate the 4 valves. The valves are in there, and likewise on the other side. The camshaft is obviously steel, and that runs directly in the aluminium head, supported by oil, which the oil is basically the bearing, if you look at it in really simplistic terms. and as you can imagine, any minute particles that make their way through the gauze filter, which they will then or can cause damage to the head. So 1,000 miles, change the oil, and I will clean my filter every oil change. I've already cleaned it once since I got it back, because when Mikey rebuilt it there was a bit of silicone, so I just wanted to clear that out. That'd be standard after any rebuild. It's always a good idea just to see what's flushed through to the bottom. And I also tilted the bike over and got some cans of contact cleaner and flushed out the cases, and there were a few bits of silicone in the bottom of the cases, so again that was all flushed out, but yeah, it just keeps it nice. Oil is standard 1040 semi-synthetic, nothing fancy about it, and it takes, I think it's 1.3 litres of oil, so it's cheap as chips for the cost of the engine, and especially hard to get cylinder heads. Just get it changed. Moving along, I'll tell you what I will do. Here's one I prepared earlier, as they used to say. I did. There with me. Look at that. I took 2 bolts off. There's 2 securing bolts, 12mm, that hold the seat unit on. And that whole thing lifts off. So you can see underneath here we have got the air intake, we've got the airbox, and a few various connectors. Let them. Shut that there. Pop off the side panel. You've got your battery. Flasher relay, obviously your positive, your negative, and your fuse box. Underneath the fuse box, underneath the battery, you've got a toolbox. These will always be broken, the lids. It's just 40-year-old plastic, you know, such is life. Swing arm, lovely things. Look at that, grease nipples on the swing arms. I packed them properly when I got this back home. Shocks, these are the original Honda shocks, made by whoever makes them. FVQ. In the old days that stood for fade very quickly, because that's pretty much what they did. Rear brake is a drum. It's a single leading shoe drum brake, and you've got a wear indicator there with a marker. There's your indicator, if you can see that. There's your marker, and obviously as you push the lever you can see where that goes, so there's plenty of life left in that. The rear wheel again is another 18-inch, can't remember the rim size, it's probably on the other side. Let's do it properly, shall we? There we go, it's another 185/18 DID rim, and again, like the front rim, there you go, there's the DID. Have a good look at the spoke holes in the rim, because they will corrode and they will blow. But again, look at that, thing of beauty. These are perfect, absolutely perfect, and this spins beautifully. Rear wheel, rear tyre, what have we got? We've got a 3.5/18, 3.5/18 on that. And again, that is another lovely Chinese tyre. If you dump the clutch on this in the wet, it will spin the back up. Unbelievably, yeah, it will spin the back up. All 29 horsepower I think they are, and less than 10 foot-pound of torque. But yeah, there you go. Chain drive. My chain is really slack. I'm not going to show you how slack it is because I need to adjust it. I've just given it a good clean and tons of lube. I'm not fussed about lube slinging off of this. It's a non-O-ring chain, so I absolutely smother this. They're cheap as chips. I think it's, what is it, a 520? Could well be. So yeah, standard chain drive. I've actually gone up a tooth on the front sprocket from a 14 to a 15 to give it a little bit more legs at the top end, and that seems to work quite well. Let's pop off this side panel. Under here, that's your air filter, secured by 3 Phillips heads. inside there, it's a foam filter that sits on a gauze canister, and there's a little lever that you depress and you pull it out. And if you look on there, you probably can't read that, but that tells you how to clean the air filter. Remove the air filter element, wash the filter element in clean Stoddard solvent, whatever that is. That might just be a translation issue. Dry it, and then coat it in gear oil, 80 or 90 weight until saturated. Squeeze out the excess and put it back in. How good is that? In a world where we throw stuff away repeatedly, how good is that? And I had to buy a new filter because the old one that was in there was shot. It had degraded, and Mike had put one on which wasn't quite the right size. So I bought one from Honda. I think it cost me all of, from David Silver's, 15 quid. And it even came pre-oiled. It absolutely was lovely. Genuine Honda pre-oiled filter. So yeah, easy. You know, what could go wrong? Tank is retained by a single bolt. Undo the bolt. Pull off your fuel pipe with obviously with the tap turned off. Tank lifts off. Easy as that. And underneath you've got your ignition coil, and you've got your voltage regulator, and then obviously a bit of wiring that runs underneath it. Horn lives at the front. 5-speed transmission. 1 down, 4 up. Side stand and a centre stand, so you can do all the little maintenance bits you need to do yourself. It really is a lovely little standard bike, and you can see why these were great for commuters back in the 80s and dispatch riders who killed off, they must have killed off thousands of these, caned mercilessly up the motorway. Top speed on these I think was, say, about 85 miles an hour, something like that. I've not tested that personally. I've done 70 on it, but it's not the sort of bike where, just wait while a high-speed train disappears past. It's not the sort of bike that you are going to thrash down the motorway. You know, it's more for back lanes, which is the lanes that I ride it on. Hence I put this little fly screen on, £9.50 off eBay. Small Bikes, Big Adventures. That's a great Facebook group if you go on if you use Facebook. A group of like-minded individuals who, to be honest with you, I feel a bit of a fraud on that page because I've got a 250, and the proper hardcore guys, I mean, they do like Land's End to John O'Groats on chicken chasers and old C50s and stuff like that do sort of like 28 miles an hour flat out. So yeah, I mean, it is anything 250 and below, but I do feel a bit of a fraud. But at least it's old, 43 years old. It's not like it's modern. Ignore that. That's just a bag that I chuck tools and stuff in, which is a good idea on a bike of this age. But yeah, there you go. That is a whistle-stop tour of a CB250RS, and sort of a buyer's guide. Obviously this is patina, however you like to pronounce it, as is the frame, but it's not structural, it is all surface. So I may well at some point give that a bit of a coat with the old rusty stuff. Oh, look at that, look. I love this. This is a genuine cable clamp, genuine Honda cable clamp, 43 years old. Remember them? Before cable ties? You can reuse these, how about that? They won't reuse very often. I'm going to leave that as long as I can, because if I bend that straight it probably won't bend again. Oh, and then what I remember, helmet lock. You just put the D-link of your helmet through there. Do you know, I haven't even tried that. Oh, look at that. Yep, put the D-link of your helmet through there, pinch it up, and then the only way someone could steal your helmet was by cutting the chin strap, which of course they could, but it does make the helmet unusable. But then again, the scroats don't really care about that, do they? They're just scum. Can you say that? Of course you can. That's the reality of it. So yeah, here we go. Cable operated clutch. I should add that. But Honda CB250RS, 1980 to about 85, 86, something like that. Weight wise, well, I remember, I think that these are light. I'm going to guess 125, 130 kilos, but they're light. They really are. You're not going to get a lot of bikes that sort of weight on the road that you know, that are sort of still going, I suppose, at this age. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. So thanks YouTubes, you have a really good day, and I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have, chuck us a like, and if you haven't, then leave a comment. Sounded nice, down my lane, wherever it was. Leave a comment and say how you think my waffles could be improved. I'll be honest with you, I'm probably going to ignore you because I enjoy waffling, and that's why I do these. But yeah, chuck a comment in if you like anyway. Right, thanks very much, enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon.